What is happening, my friends? Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a quick breakdown for Jinglian versus Tony Ferguson. This matchup was kind of a shocker to me. I was expecting Tony to fight Dan Hooker. I feel like that was a way better fight for Tony, and it was a great fight for Dan Hooker. But here we are. They booked Jinglian versus Ferguson at welterweight. Tony is no stranger to welterweight. He's actually performed very well at welter. His power transfers nicely at welterweight. But let's get into the matchup. Alright, let's start with Jinglian. Lee is 34 years old, 6 feet tall, 72-inch reach. Mixed martial arts record, 19 wins, 7 losses. 10 wins via knockout, 4 wins via submission. Lee has a Sanda background, and he is a black belt in BJJ. Now, Sanda, I believe, is Chinese kickboxing, formerly known as San Shao. That was Kung Lee's discipline. It involves striking and throws. Quickly talking about Jinglian's style and attributes, he's a heavy hitter. Based on his recent losses, maybe against strong grapplers and wrestlers, he might have an issue. His 2 recent losses were Neil Magny and Khamzat Chimaev. Now, Lee likes to sit in the pocket and trade, very grounded base while striking, plants his feet and stands his ground often. This is a good thing and it's a bad thing because on one hand you're bracing yourself for incoming, but you also are not very mobile to avoid shots or roll with them because you're so anchored down trying to bang it out. I have seen him fight loose, however, but often, very often, he just likes to get in there, anchor down and trade. He seems content with marching forward and trading because he's very heavy-handed, really sits on his shots. Nasty low kicks, I find him very effective and damaging. He can tear your lead leg up, which will compromise you, and doesn't let up on them if he sees they're hurting you. Lee likes to roll and throw hooks. He can also transition to a takedown if he's in range after ducking and rolling from an incoming shot. It's tricky because you may think a hook or overhand is coming, but when he changes levels, he can switch and transition right to a takedown. Body lock, get a hold of your hips. He's tricky with that. Very good at duck unders and taking your back, then dumping you on the mat. I find Lee very physically strong, which makes it even more impressive what Khamzat did to him. Lee has a great right hand and rear uppercut. He doesn't even have to set up that rear uppercut, he just throws it, and I think he'll find his mark. I view Lee as a technical brawler. He's never been knocked out, which is impressive considering his willingness to bang it out. Alright, moving on to the legend, Tony Okukui Ferguson, who is 38 years old right now, 6 feet tall, 76.5-inch reach. Mixed martial arts record, 25 wins, 7 losses, 12 knockout wins, 8 submission wins. Which shows just how dangerous Tony is in different facets of mixed martial arts. He's a 10th planet Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he also has a wrestling background. Tony's style is very chaotic, erratic, constantly has you guessing on the feet. He has a plethora of techniques standing, and sometimes there's no rhyme or reason to Tony striking. He hits you from weird angles, spinning back fists, spinning elbows, low kicks, front kicks, body kicks, knees. He reminds me of like a mixed martial arts Tasmanian devil standing. Get out of the way of that tornado. But it's a tornado of razor blades. Tony has a wrestling background, and sometimes we see that skill in fights. Against lower level wrestlers, he definitely could keep the fight on the feet. He could score takedowns. But against guys a little bit more powerful, who do have solid wrestling backgrounds themselves, from what I've seen, it looks like Tony gets taken down, I wouldn't say easily, but he loses that wrestling advantage when he's going up against a guy who's stronger and that has wrestling skill themselves. I'm not saying that Tony's not skilled in wrestling. It just seems like it's not on display as much compared to his striking skill and his BJJ, his submission skills. Like Jinglian, Tony Ferguson is very durable. He's never been knocked out cold up until his fight with Chandler, which is impressive in his part because if you look at the competition that Jinglian has faced and Tony Ferguson has faced, Tony's faced more killers in his career. You got Donald Cerrone, Anthony Pettis, RDA, Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, Beneil Dariush is a great striker. Tony's fought Yves Edwards. This is a funny one. I never knew this, Tony's fought Joe Schilling back in the day. A lot of names, a lot of other names. Impressive resume. Just in general, not only the wins, just the people he's faced. Tony's cardio is always top notch. For a long time, he set the bar as far as cardio and conditioning. I think even today, there's few guys that have that cardio and conditioning like Tony Ferguson. You got Kobe Covington, you got Neil Magny, of course you got Nate Diaz. Max Holloway has great cardio and conditioning. Tony's up there, man. Tony is up there. He will wear you out and keep coming. Cardio is a weapon for him. Toughness through the roof. Tony's one of the toughest fighters to ever do it. I would say he also has a very strong mind. Alright guys, so the matchup. Okay, so let's talk about a few things. Let's talk about the reach advantage. Tony Ferguson has reach advantage. That's going to be useful, especially if Tony fights smart, if he fights long, which he's very capable of doing. He was doing that against Chandler. He was taking his time. He was picking his shots. He was using that length and reach. He was piecing Michael Chandler up. And at welterweight, Tony Ferguson has power. He has a lot of knockouts on his resume. Make no mistake about it, if he catches Li Jinglian, he could hurt him. I don't think Tony should go for the knockout because Li has a great chin. He just may be one of those dudes that can't be knocked out. I think on the feet, Tony's more diverse, offers way more on the feet. Li Jingliang, to me, has solid, dangerous basics. He's got the jab, he's got the 1-2, he's got hooks, he got uppercuts, he's got the low kicks, but I don't really see a creative, diverse game in his striking. It's very linear. Comes forward, tries to bang it out. Tony, on the other hand, when he decides to be mobile, when he decides to use head movement, when he chooses to use angles, he could be very dangerous standing. Tony likes to bait you into a brawl, into an exchange, and he's very good at slipping punches and throwing uppercuts right under your guard, smacking you in the chin. He's got a great lead uppercut, punches and connects at odd angles that creep around your guard. Power, I might give it to Li Jingliang. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think honestly it's comparable. I believe a 170-pound Ferguson could crack. Overall striking skill, maybe not from a technical standpoint, just the whole package, I got to give it to Tony. Those low kicks from Li Jingliang might be a problem because Tony sometimes slips on his defense and that's what gets him in trouble. I know he's durable, I know he's super tough, but that doesn't mean that he's invulnerable to damage. Once you're hurt, once you're compromised, it's going to affect what you could do in return in that cage. And a perfect example of Tony relying a little bit too much on his toughness and durability and not using great defense was against Justin Gaethje, and he paid for it dearly. He let the damage accumulate, and it got to a point that when he maybe realized that, it was too late. You're already in the third or fourth round, and you've taken so many damn power shots. I think Li Jingliang could definitely do some major damage with those low kicks. As a matter of fact, he should throw low kicks because I don't see Tony catching his low kicks and taking them down. So why not throw them? You're going to kill what movement Tony Ferguson does have, which is going to further compromise his defense, which is going to make him more hittable, and Li could hit hard. If we're talking Tony at his best, sharp reflexes, speed, timing being there, I think Tony would actually beat him on the feet. Tony has squared off against some pretty competent strikers who are explosive, who are quick, and he has eaten them alive. We just don't know what Tony's going to show up. He looked great against Michael Chandler. Honestly, if he comes in like that again, he may put a whooping on Li Jingliang. Pure strength, I got to go with Li. Grappling ability, it's a little tricky. Submission grappling wise, got to give it to Tony. Of course, he is a master of the Darce choke. He may have an opportunity for that. Li, like I said, likes to roll and throw those hooks, but he also transitions into takedowns from those. And if he gets his head low, Tony could slip in a Darce. That might be all she wrote. I do believe Li could take Tony down. I think if he maintains top position, Tony's going to get ground and pounded. But good thing for Tony from what I've seen with Li, Li likes to bang it out on the feet. And it looks like in the past he's actually let his opponents back up. He throws ground and pound, but he stays standing hovering over them. And he gives them a lot of space to scramble and get back to the feet. So that's a positive for Tony. Something tells me that this fight is not going to spend too much time on the floor. I mean, I could see Lee possibly throwing Tony, scoring some takedowns, but I think this fight's mostly going to take place standing. And it's really tough to pick who's going to be the winner because there's so many variables going on here. Overall, who I think is the better fighter, Tony Ferguson. But the problem is that Tony's 38 right now. He's coming off of a nasty knockout to Michael Chandler. He's been on a string of losses. How's Ferg going to come in? He may be in just enough of a decline where Li Jinglian takes this fight. And I wouldn't say that for prime Tony Ferguson. So are we going to see Tony Ferguson get beat up on the feet, banged up, look slow, get controlled and dominated in the grappling, kind of what Beneil Dariush did and Charles Oliveira? Or are we going to see some vintage Tony action? Tony's chaotic and unpredictable stand-up, stifling and confusing Li Jingliang, punches, knees, elbows, kicks, coming at him from all angles. Are we going to see the Tony that fought Pettis show up and buzzsaw his way through Li Jingliang? I wouldn't say prime Tony Ferguson gets TKO'd or knocked out from Lee's shots, but when you suffer a brutal knockout like that, getting your head punted and being out cold for minutes, I don't think you can come back the same after that. But with that being said, I'm going to say Tony Ferguson 55-45 over Li Jingliang via being a former elite, being more skilled overall, fighting better competition throughout his career. And I think just like the Michael Chandler fight, Tony's going to come in pissed, trying to prove a point, and we're going to see some vintage Tony. Yes, I know he came in pissed in the Chandler fight and got knocked out, but he was whooping him in that first round. Final pick, I'm going to go Tony Ferguson. I'm going to say via decision. Lee's very tough. I don't know if Tony could finish him, but maybe he could take Lee's shots and give him 5 in return and just completely overwhelm him, give him too much to think about and defend against. Ferg via decision. But that's it, guys. I don't know what else to talk about with this one. Just a quick breakdown. Spoke from the heart through a lot of this. You guys let me know in the comment section. Who do you got, Tony Ferguson or Li Jingliang? Believe me, I wouldn't be shocked if you're picking Li to win. But I'm going to Okukui. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If this is your first time at the channel and you enjoy the content, consider hitting that subscribe button. Like and share, appreciate that. Best way to show support. And I will catch you guys on the next segment. Until then, everybody please take care, stay safe. Later.